Jeez. You thought having 2 Claires on screen last time was a bit overboard? Try 10.
Yeah, this sounds like an absolute nightmare, right? You want it to end, right?
Well, it's a nightmare to edit, so poof, it's gone. I'm sorry to those of you out there who were happy to have more puppy in your life, but even I have my limits. And by that, I mean, wow, I stream like 4 or 5 days a week. Wow, you can get more puppy that way and give me some head pats in real time. Yeah. If you're head patting your favorite puppy, which I hope is me, of course it's me, it wouldn't be anybody else, right? And wondering what the heck is going on, this video is a part of a larger series where, for every day in August, I rank all of the any percent speedruns for Kirby games. Yesterday's video was a pretty epic one on an extra game, so if all of this sounds rad to you, check out the earlier rankings in the playlist. I promise you'll have a great time. Clear of level, can I promise you will have a great time. Today, we'll be talking about a favorite of mine in the series that doesn't have a very good any percent speedrun. But before we get to that, I've got something frightening to tell you. I messed up. Deputy Pup happened to see me having a regular burger, a burgie, if you will, instead of one of the world-famous nothing burgers that we talked about a few days ago. And let's just say that, unless you like this video and subscribe to the channel, the deputy will be depu-angy. If you want to go the extra mile to help me out, you can support me as a pup train on Patreon or a mempup on YouTube. You do get nifty perks for doing so, including early access to all the videos, including the any percent speedrun rankings. Special thanks to my head-patting fluffle fan, pup trains and mempups, Freakish Uproar, Lydia Scribe, and Vilifar. I love you all! So the question stands, if I love today's game, Kirby Mass Attack, so much, and I love Kirby speedrunning so much, why is Mass Attack so low on a Kirby speedrunning list? Those two seem to go better than this puppy and head pats. First of all, don't you dare say that ever again. And second, there aren't a lot of reasons, but the few there are wind up being pretty detrimental. Look, I love Mass Attack and always will, and that fact is definitely carrying Mass Attack to where it is on this list. It's bottom 10, sure, but if I didn't like this game as much as I do, it could easily be, I don't know, bottom 3. The big knock against it is that, as people and puppies alike, our time together is limited. We should value life and all that the world gives us in that time. And if you're looking to speedrun a game, or at least an any percent Kirby game, pick one that doesn't take 3.5 hours. As overly dramatic of a theatrical pup as I can be, I don't think Mass Attack offers enough variety to stay interesting for over 200 minutes. I think, when not speedrunning it, the ideas and levels are intriguing and a wonder to play. But when that timer is ticking, those fascinating aspects very quickly turn into frustration, and, especially for a Kirby game, a desire for something more, like what the abilities offer in the other games. I'm not bothered by Mass Attack not having abilities, but if my long speedrun involves keeping 10 Kirbys alive for an extended period of time in a game with levels that take a long time, and oftentimes have cutscenes you can't skip, yeah, I'm not gonna love it as a speed game. But there are 2 truly tragic points that I need to bring up. Firstly, that 3.5 hour time that I mentioned, that's the world record set by Wakaza. In the Kirby speedrunning community, everybody knows Wakaza, but if you don't, he's arguably the greatest Kirby speedrunner of all time. His ability to pick up a game, master it, and apply what he's learned into a speedrun for the games he's ran is nearly unparalleled. And that's the 3.5 hour time that I'm talking about. If it takes the literal GOAT, greatest of all time, this long to beat it, what does that spell for anybody else? But even more tragic, even more painful, even more of a blow to the heart for the mass stance of Mass Attack is that, hidden in the depths of this wonderful game with a not great any percent speedrun, is a category that would kill it in these rankings. That category, of course, is Kirby Brawl Ball, a category that only takes between 8 to 15 minutes, maybe closer to 20 if you're less experienced, for the part of the game many people agree is the best part of the whole game. I went back and forth on whether I should include it or not, since it doesn't break most of the rules I have for what counts as any percent, but it does break the most important one, a rule so important that even an anarch pop like me can't ignore. The Brawl Ball run is, by all accounts, a 100% run, not an any percent one. The rules don't explicitly state that, but given your goal is to beat every boss and get the "you beat every boss" screen, or let me say it like this, you beat 100% of the bosses screen, I couldn't include it. And because of that, now I'm sad. Oh, well, to cheer myself up, let me talk about what's actually very good about this category. While it all comes together to be far too long for its own good, for the most part, I think the individual levels, when they're reviewed on their own and not as 40 plus levels needing to be zoomed through, are a ton of fun. No matter what happens, I still do stand Mass Attack, so even if I don't like the full run very much, I'm gonna have a blast with the levels. Not every level is a winner for the sake of the speedrun. The early parts of a day-to-day resort go from my favorite part of the main campaign to one of my least favorite parts, but the overwhelming majority of it is fun. The big thing that makes these levels fun to run, for me, is the movement. More specifically, the movement speed is always fast. Even when you're underwater, you're never slogging along, wondering why Kirby has to move so slowly. The insanely long time the game takes to clear is less on it being inherently slow and more on it having a lot of ideas. A lot of ideas which it sets up and pays off by using cutscenes, which are great, just again, sound like a broken record, not great when doing a full game any percent run. The movement speed isn't the only thing that makes moving and zooming fun though. As a refined puppy of many qualities, I sure hope I wouldn't be pleased that easily. No, if the basic movement ideas were all it took, then vertical movement would still be slow. I'm sure you've noticed a pattern with a lot of these videos, which is when talking about movement speed, wow, Kirby is not good at moving up. In Mass Attack, that basic idea is still there, but a trick you can do while Kirby, or Kirby's, is, or are, whatever, I'm getting confused, is to flick one of the Kirbys out of the float to a higher surface. Oftentimes, even if you have 10 Kirbys, this is enough to allow you to progress, especially if there's a door. Also, if you flick Kirby into a wall, they do a little squishy into it before bouncing off, and that's funny. Maybe I'm not a refined pup and I am easy to please after all. Anyway, refined puppy or not, tell me I'm refined in the comments. That would make me so happy. Being allowed to, you know, move vertically without aging 90 years does wonders for your movement. And since your movement is faster, that encourages and improves exploration. Like with any game, if there's a faster option than what's directly in front of you, explore it, find it, and abuse it. Let's go! Speaking of exploration, something I do genuinely like about this speedrun, and something that games like Robobot and Forgotten Land do outstandingly, is the usage of the rainbow medals. You need to collect these to advance, but unlike in those other games, there are regular medals as well that you can just completely ignore for the sake of an any percent run. This does comparatively limit creativity, but it does streamline the process and allow you to focus on getting through levels as quickly as possible, rather than cost time to get X amount of a collectible. It's unique in that regard, and I appreciate that. Similar to a game like Brawl Ball, the bosses in this game are also really fun. Even playing casually, that feeling of wanting to see how long you can get Kirby to wail on a boss before they shoo you away was one of my favorite parts about the bosses themselves. Since 2011, when this game came out, Day-to-Day has always been my favorite boss in this game, and while there's not some crazy glitch that suddenly makes him die in 2 hits, the precision and knowledge the speedrun shows that makes this fight go by so much quicker than you would otherwise imagine is insane. Getting this right and bopping day today in record time alone. It made me want to rank Kirby Mass Attack higher. And now it's time for Fluffo Fans. It's Claire Fluffos speedrunning tip of the day. Yay! For Mass Attack, it's gotta be this nifty trick that you can do against enemies you can't knock out in one round of Kirby combat. Basically, if you have more than one Kirby pounding on an enemy, yikes, that one's gotta hurt. You can flick one of the Kirbys off of the enemy and then back on to reset their "Grrr, I'm being attacked for a while, it's time to knock the Kirbys off." I like to flick the Kirby of choice down so they bounce right back up and immediately attack the enemy again. Violence! Yay! On that note, I'll leave Mass Attack at that and wrap the whole thing up. I really am a huge fan of this game, and I'm happy to scream about how good it is whenever asked, but not every great game is a good speed game. Heck, not every bad game is a bad speed game either. The world just so happens to work in mysterious ways. As a not mysterious pup who wears her feelings on her sleeves and face, I won't pretend to fully understand. But who cares? I love Mass Attack and I always will. But I do love other Kirby games too, and plenty of the other any % speedruns I love more than this, so I'm gonna get to gushing about those. For now, I have been Claire, thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you around. Bye-bye!